The moment you've been waiting for to listen to an administrator speak, right? Okay. I must start by saying that I feel entirely undeserving of this tremendous honor, and am so thankful to JEA for this incredible recognition. When I received a random email some months back proclaiming me some sort of Administrator of the Year, that at first I eyed with suspicion, thinking it must be some kind of spam, I was, for once, utterly speechless. I quickly regained my faculties and put in a phone call to my journalism advisor from Bear River High School, who had devilishly done this without my knowledge. I believe the conversation started with something like, "What the hell did you do?" As we began to talk and reminisce, I had since moved on to a central office administration position in another district. Tears began to stream down my face. And that certainly wasn't because of the award. It was because of how much I miss those incredible student journalists, their fabulous advisor, Christina Levinson, and the magical experience I had playing a small role in the fledgling stages of the program. When I arrived on the scene as principal of Bear River High School, I knew the school was in need of dramatic cultural change, which was right up my alley, as I was at that time embarking upon a doctoral program through which I would study transformational change and later conduct my dissertation research on schools that had positively transformed their cultures. I immediately discovered in my new home that communication, and particularly student voice, were virtually non-existent, and there was no shared sense of the organization's values or purpose. In addition to working on those fundamental components of positive culture, I also recognized that perhaps the most significant impact I could have in my role as principal would be attracting, hiring, and supporting the efforts of outstanding educators. Historically, the Bear River Journalism Program, and I use that term extremely loosely, consisted of a random elective offering taught by a random, typically English teacher, without a full teaching schedule. As a former high school English teacher myself, who also had the honor of serving as a yearbook advisor for 5 years, and that's right, I got a little street cred, and whose brother, Aaron Selvig, is a professional journalist, I knew the power and potential of student journalism. Fortunately for me, as a school leader hell-bent on transformational change, California had adopted a new path to teaching, the CTE, Career Technical Education route, which enables industry professionals to acquire teaching credentials based on their professional experience in the field, supplemented by a great deal of training and support about teaching itself. We quickly identified that journalism could fall within the CTE pathway of digital media arts and be taught by a professional journalist, rather than existing solely as an English department one-off. And then, one glorious day, the clouds parted and the angels began to sing as Christina Levinson walked right into my office, a fireball of an experienced journalist with a necessary heart for helping kids achieve their potential. I truly feel that I'm receiving this award today for not being the world's biggest idiot. It's an accomplishment. It is no exaggeration to say that any person in his or her right mind would have immediately picked up on her awesomeness and would have eagerly hired her and then supported her efforts to the extent humanly possible. From that moment forward, the magic really began to happen. Together, we empowered kids to engage in our collective work to define who we were as a school community. Christina's classroom quickly became a bustling newsroom, and kids who never even thought about journalism before began to grow into leaders and journalists, capable of navigating complex and ever-changing dynamics. The only things I think I actually contributed to the development of this phenomenal program are as follows. Number one, I said yes as much as I possibly could in terms of resources, training, funding, and ideas. Number two, I trusted this fabulous educator and therefore trusted her student journalists. As good journalists do, they sometimes tackled sticky topics and asked hard questions. I never declined an interview, not once. That being said, I also gave them coaching feedback. about their approach and questioning strategies from my vantage point. I think that this modeling of not being afraid of student voice did have an impact on my staff and the manner in which they regarded our student journalists, and that does make me proud. And number three, I helped connect their journalistic efforts to our school-wide efforts. Before I knew it, we were aligned in our values and that which we celebrated. We were unifying efforts and breaking down silos between departments and programs, and even between students and adults. Ultimately, we were doing the messy work of creating a thriving, truly student-centered culture. In my humble estimation, you all are the ones to be celebrated. Engaging young people in finding their voice, blazing their path, and having a meaningful impact on their world is such difficult, inspiring, heroic work. I'm honored as a fellow educator to be in your midst, and will continue in any manner I am able to fiercely advocate for empowering students and supporting phenomenal educators. Thank you for all you do, and thank you again for this entirely undeserved recognition. Being in the right place at the right time to experience this magic has been one of the highlights of my career in public education. And if the administrators back at your schools are afraid of student voice, have them give me a call. Thank you.